Hello everyone. In this video, we will be solving accounting paper 1, which is of multiple choice for October-November 2020. In this video, I will be solving multiple choice questions from 1 to 20. So this is part 1 of the video. If you would like me to solve the remaining, which would be from 21 to 35, please comment down below in the video, and then I will come up with the part 2 as well. If you think this video was helpful to you, please consider liking this video, sharing with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for more videos like these. So let's get started with the first 20 multiple choice questions. Multiple choice 1. So if you read this question here, a trader prepares financial statements each year. What do these assist the trader to do? So a trader prepares financial statements, which will include income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statements as usual. So these are like pretty standard financial statements. Now, in general, so the question is basically asking you this, that in general, what these financial statements, how these financial statements help for the trader. So calculate the amount owing to credit supplies. Yes, you can do that, but that actually is accounts payable. So there is a specific definition over there. So accounts payable actually tell you this. So you don't really need financial statements for this. Calculate cash drawings, again, not really one of the best options. Check the bank statement balance. I mean, if you want to check the bank statement balance, you can refer to bank statement by itself. You don't really need to go for financial statements for that, right? So, and if you read the last options, make decisions about future. So this is like, most likely the correct option. It addresses what the question is asking. So the correct answer to multiple choice 1 is actually option D. Let's move on to multiple choice 2. What is not an example of bookkeeping entry? So in this question, you need to understand what is bookkeeping, right? So you need to know. I assume if you're preparing for the O-level exam, accounting, bookkeeping is a very basic accounting concept. It should be taught to you in the very first lessons of accounting. So you know what bookkeeping is, and I'm not going to explain what bookkeeping is. Whereas the question also focuses on what is not an example of bookkeeping. So you have to find an example which is not an example of bookkeeping, right? So let's read through the options. So if you look at option A, an entry, so it's clearly an entry, right? So if you see, it's clearly an entry. So you can cross out this option. It's not really, you can read this option. You should read this option to understand it completely. But on the safe side, I mean, if you've seen this word, you can eliminate it. Then option B is cost of goods purchased on credit. Again, entered. So this is like past tense for entry. So this is again, this cross out this option. It's about accounting entry. This is journal entry. This is journal entry, which is just bookkeeping entry. Expenses paid during the year entered in the income statement. Now that's why it's important. That's why it's important to read through all the options. So expenses paid during the year entered in income statement. Now expenses have already been entered. The journal entry has been passed and simply they are being transferred. So in this option, it's saying that expenses are being transferred to income statement. The expenses are being transferred to income statement. So this is merely a transfer. So this option C is most likely the correct option for multiple choice 2. If you read option D as well, goods returned by a customer entered in the sales journal. Again, this is actually a journal entry. So option A, B, and D are not the correct answers. The correct answer to multiple choice 2 is option C. Multiple choice 3. There's this guy who signs book. It has these items here. What is the total of the liabilities? So you understand the total of liabilities. So that's all you need to calculate. It's fairly a simple question. Shouldn't take you more than a minute. So that will save you time on the exam. If you know what you are doing, it will surely save your time. So all you need to do is identify. So the first step would be to identify the liabilities in this case, right? So this is an asset, this is an asset, this is an asset, this is a liability. Other receivables is an asset, other payables is a liability. Loan to Imran. Now this is loan to, this is the keyword. So this is actually a receivable. So this is not a liability, even though by most of the students might get confused because loan refers to liability. Now companies Hussein can give out loan to someone or can borrow. So if this word was from loan from, then it is a liability because then Hussein has to pay. But this is a loan to, so Hussein will receive this money. Therefore, this is not a liability. This is an asset. Bank overdraft, it is a liability. So now you can see, as I see, this is a liability, this is a liability, and this is a liability. Three liabilities. Uh, First one is 4,500. Then you have 300, and then you have 1,400. So if you make a total of this, you should come to an answer of 6,200. So the correct answer to multiple choice 3 is option B. Multiple choice 4. What does owner's equity consist of? So this is just like, part of balance sheet, and it's referring to equity, owner's equity. So what does owner's equity consist of? The amount of money in the business bank account. So that's just cash balance, and it's not necessary that cash balance belongs to owner, right? And this is not reported in equity. This is reported in asset section, current asset section. The amount owed by the business to the owner. Yes, this sounds very much equity statement. This is actually a factual statement. You don't really need to pick up the best option here. Like, this is the fact, and this is the best option. If you read option C and D, the total assets owned. So this is like the definition of total assets. So when you calculate total assets, when you sum up total assets, that's what total assets is. The total of assets owed by the business is basically total assets. Then you have option D, which is the total of current assets less current liabilities. Now this is a definition of working capital. How do you calculate working capital? That is current assets minus current liabilities. So therefore, option D is not the correct option. The correct option for multiple choice 4 is option B. Multiple choice 5. Which entries did Sally make to record the following transaction? Rashid, the credit customer, returned damaged goods. So if you see, Sally is the seller, and Rashid is buyer, right? So Rashid is buyer. So what is Rashid in Sally's book? Rashid is accounts receivable in Sally's book, right? So if you just go through the options here, you can actually eliminate some of the options here. So for example, this is not a purchase return. This is a sales return in Sally's book because it's being asking. The question is from Sally's perspective. So you can actually eliminate the first two options, option A and option B. You can eliminate it. Now you're down to 50-50. Option C and option D. Option D is incorrect in this case. Option D is incorrect because Rashid returned goods, right? So the accounts receivable should go down. And if accounts receivable is going down, you credit it. So the correct answer to multiple choice 5 is option C. You credit Rashid's account and you debit sales return. And you credit Rashid's account, right? So a fairly simple question, nothing complicated. All you need to follow is logic and your basic accounting principles. If your basic accounting principles are strong enough, I'm sure you can sail through the exam and get an A star or A for paper 1 on your exam. Multiple choice 6. The following account prepared in books of Mary. So in the books of Mary, you have an account called Paul. So Mary and then Paul. So these are the two parties involved. You look at the account. What is Paul? Paul is an accounts receivable in Mary's book. Now, how do I know this? I know this because it's talking about sales, right? It's talking about sales. It's debiting sales. So this is an accounts receivable. Now we need to understand each event, and then we will identify which statement is correct, right? So that's what we are going to do. So on 1st April, Paul owed Mary $90. Now this is actually correct. This is actually correct, and you only need to identify correct statement. It is a very coincident thing that the first statement is a correct statement. The answer to multiple choice 6 is actually option A, because on 1st April, if you look at this 1st April, balance brought forward $90. Paul owed Mary $90. Paul, in other words, Paul has to pay Mary $90, and we already decide like this. If you look at this here, Paul is I already say is that Paul is an accounts receivable in Mary's book. So option A is correct. We will go through option B, C, and D, and we'll identify why they are wrong, because identifying wrong statements is equally important and part of your learning process. Otherwise there is no point. So if you look at option B, on 14th April, Paul sold goods of $150 to Mary. Now, no, this is incorrect, because Mary is selling goods to Paul. Mary is selling goods to Paul. On 21st April, Mary returned goods to Paul. No, Mary cannot return. Paul returned goods to Mary, right? So you see these options are incorrect. Option D, on 30th April, Mary, or no. So we already said Paul owed Mary $125. So again, this option is incorrect. Multiple choice 7, in which sections of Zamir's ledger would the following accounts be maintained? So sales account and the account of Harjeet, a trade receivable. So this is all sales account, and this is specific customer account. The specific customer account. So actually what will happen is that the sales account will appear in nominal journal ledger. Harjeet is a trade receivable, which refers to sales ledger. And therefore the correct answer to multiple choice 7 would be option B, sales ledger. You can come down to 50-50 as well if you're in real exam and panicked. I understand that. You can actually eliminate purchase ledger, because this is not a trade payable. This is not a trade payable. This is a trade receivable, right? So it's a trade receivable. So if we're talking about trade receivable, we are automatically talking about sales, right? That's the basic concept here. So the answer to multiple choice 7 is option B. Multiple choice 8, Sue allows 2% cash discount to credit customers who settle their account within 28 days. So basically, Sue sells goods, and the discount is 2% for if the payment is made in 28 days. If the payment is made in 28 days. Jane purchased goods, list price is $200 on 10th September. She returned the goods on 15th September. Which entry would Sue make on 15th September? So again, Sue is selling. So we are not concerned about purchases journal here. We are not concerned about purchases return journal here. It's clearly a sales return journal, right? It is clearly a sales return journal. So option A and option B are incorrect. You are down to 50-50. Which option do you choose? Do you take the discounted price, which is basically 200 times 98%, or you take complete entire $200? The correct answer to multiple choice 8 is option D. If you guessed it right, that's hats off to you. and clapping for yourself. You should congratulate yourself. It is $200 because the goods were returned within 5 days. And the sales return journal will be on the full list price. There was no payment made by the customer as well. So option D is the correct answer for multiple choice 8. Multiple choice 9, a transaction was posted to a wrong account. So this is the keyword here. A transaction was opened to a wrong account of the same class. This is another keyword. So the nature is same. The nature is same. It's just that the account is wrong. So for example, expense being debited to an asset account. So the nature of this is same. If there's an increase in expense, you debit. If there's an increase in asset, there is debit, right? But what you did was like you by like, just a mistake, you actually entered expense amount into assets amount. So that is the error. So you just went into a wrong account with the same class, right? So the error in this case is actually option A, which is error of commission. Error of commission. This is not an entry. This is not an original entry error or principal or any reversal. This is not even reversal. Another example of wrong account, same class would be wrong. You debit to wrong customer account. Wrong customer account. So that's again same nature account, but you debited the wrong customer account or you credited the wrong customer account. So the answer to multiple choice 9 is option A. Multiple choice 10, motor vehicle expenses $50 were incorrectly debited to motor vehicles account. So you see the example that I was referring to in multiple choice 9, they tested in multiple choice 10. So you see you would notice these subtle continuation of testing the concepts in the exam. If you're observant enough, you will actually observe these things, and they will help you score better in the exam. Because then you can actually predict. You can try to predict questions, right? That's what humans do. You try to predict things, even though prediction is the wrong thing to do, but well, people do it. So which journal entry corrects this error? So you have to correct this error, right? So you have to reduce motor vehicle account, and then increase motor vehicle expense. So you have to debit motor vehicle expense account and then credit motor vehicle account, right? So that's what you have to do actually, and you can see that that's actually option A. So if you know your basic accounting principles, if you have mastered your basic accounting principles and basic accounting rules, if you would like to know more about debits and credits, you can actually watch a video on my channel. There's a video on my channel where I explain how to make journal entries and what are the journal entry rules and the debit credit rules for different accounts. So you can always watch that. But in this case, the correct answer to multiple choice 10 is option A. It's fairly easy question, doesn't need much explanation at the same time. We'll move on to multiple choice 11. Multiple choice 11, Kate calculated her draft profit for the year at 28,400. She later discovered the following errors. Rent prepaid by Kate was understated by $1,000. Closing inventory was understated by $1,500. What is the correct profit for the year? Again, this is not a complicated problem. If your expenses are understated, if your rent expense is understated, your overall expenses are overstated, which will understate your profit. So you need to add $1,000 to this amount. Then closing inventory was understated as well, so which means that your COGS is overstated and your profit is understated. Therefore, you will add this amount as well. So plus 1,500. So basically 28,400 plus $1,000 plus $1,500, which gives me 30,900. So my correct answer to multiple choice 11 is option D, $30,900. Multiple choice 12, a trader's bank statement showed a credit balance of 2940. So this is a bank statement. So bank statement balance is 2940. The following items had not been entered in the cash book. So these items have not been entered in the cash book. What is the debit balance in the cash book before it was updated? So this is a positive balance. This is a positive balance. That means this is not an overdraft, not an overdraft. Plus, the question is asking from cash book perspective. So these items have not been entered in the cash book perspective. Therefore, the balance is going to be, so one thing you can say that the balance is going to be less than 2940, which basically means that 2940 minus $70 minus $280. These are both income items. These are both income items. In other words, they will increase your bank balance. These two items will increase your bank balance, but you have not entered this in your cash book, which means that the amount in your cash book is lesser. Therefore, what you will do is 2940 minus 70 minus 280, which will give you an answer of 2590. 2590. So the correct answer to multiple choice 12 is option A. Multiple choice 13. What is a purpose of preparing sales ledger control account? So companies prepare sales ledger control account. You should also remember the format of it. It should be at the top of your head. So when sales ledger control account, someone mentions sales ledger control account, you should know what they are talking about. So what is the purpose? We are referring for, like, we are trying to understand what is the purpose of sales ledger control account. To identify irrecoverable debts? No, not really. For this, you can actually look at provision for doubtful debts. So this is not really why companies prepare sales ledger control account. To make fraud more difficult? Yes, this is a most likely option, because we try to spot errors when preparing sales ledger control account. So I will call it SLC account, sales ledger control account. To provide the total owed of trade payables? No, this is a sales ledger control account. This is talking about trade receivable, not trade payables here. So option C is completely factually incorrect. Option D, to show the total of cash and credit sales? No, this is only talking about credit sales. This talks about credit sales. So option D is incorrect at the same time. So you see, option A is incorrect, C and D is correct. You're only left with option B. Option B is the correct answer for multiple choice 13, simply because sales ledger control account is prepared to do reconciliation. It is a reconciliation statement. It's trying to cross-check the number that you have in the total of accounts receivable. And if that doesn't match, then you can actually see the problem. You can help stop fraud, or you can spot if there's any fraud in the company. Then multiple choice 14. George is preparing his purchases ledger control account. Which information would he obtain from his journal? So which information will come from his journal? So if you know so you see, so these options. So if you look at it, they're multiple choice 13 and 14 are actually about sales ledger and purchase ledger control account. So you see, do you observe there's a pattern? There's a pattern here, which can help you understand things better and prepare better for the exam. Well, let's come back to multiple choice 14. Which information would you obtain from journal? And that information would actually be contra entries with the sales ledger. So the answer to multiple choice 14 is option A. Multiple choice 15. A trader debited the cost of repairing office equipment to office equipment account. So this is actually an expense account, an expense account, and this is an asset account. And we have seen a similar problem in the same exam. So you can just go back in the video. There was one question that where we talked about motor vehicle expense and motor vehicle account. So if you remember, if you have watched this video so far, so you will probably remember this question, and you can actually go back and see. But in this question, it is a little different. That question was asking you to correct the error. This question is asking you the effect of error. So what will be the effect of this error on the financial statements? This is effect on balance sheet, and this is the effect on income statement. Now, what you have done is you have understated your expenses. That means you have overstated your profit, and you have overstated your asset at the same time, because that number should be not there. So the correct answer to multiple choice 15 is actually option A. Both of these accounts, both profit for the year is overstated, and the non-current asset account is also overstated. Multiple choice 16, Rashid provided the following information at 31st December. We have machinery at cost, and then we have provision for depreciation. Depreciation for the year is calculated 20% on cost. This is basically SLM, straight line method, which means that the depreciation is same or stays the same throughout the year. But we can safely assume that this is not written here if I look at the question, but I think 20% on cost can be a safe assumption here. After the statement of financial position was prepared, it was found that the machinery repairs costing 2,000 has been debited to the machinery account. So that means this should actually be 50,000 and not 52,000. In other words, something like that, not something closer to that. What this statement is trying to say. What is the correct balance on the provision for depreciation of machinery account? Now, this question is fairly difficult. Because you don't know a few things. You don't know depreciation policy. They haven't mentioned, so it's hard to assume. Depreciation policy is missing, and the life of asset is missing. Life of asset is missing. So you don't really know how to calculate this number, right? So you don't really know how to calculate 23,000, but it's not that difficult. It's not that really difficult as well at the same time. So what you need to do is you basically need to take, so $2,000 times 20%, 20%, which is this 2,000 times 20% of this amount should not be in the provision for depreciation for machinery, right? So 2,000 times 20% is actually going to be $400. So this $400 should not be in 23,000. So you simply need to do 23,000 minus 400. This will give you 22,600, and the correct answer to multiple choice 16 would be option B. That would be the correct balance, because this $2,000 should not be in the cost. Right, this should not be in the cost, and therefore with the same depreciation rate, that amount should not be entered in the provision for depreciation of machine. So therefore the answer to multiple choice 16 is option B. Multiple choice 17, a machine which cost $32,000 was sold for $14,000. The total depreciation at the date of disposal was $15,000. What was the profit or loss on disposal? So this is easy question. All you need to do is remember formulas, right? So first thing you need to do is calculate the carrying amount, or the book value, which will be just cost minus the accumulated depreciation. And then to calculate gain or loss, you would actually do the cash proceeds minus the book value or the carrying amount, right? So if you look at the formula here, so statement one, all right, so the cost was $32,000, minus $15,000 minus $15,000, right? So that gives me $17,000. Statement two, I received, the company received $14,000, but the book value or the cost was $17,000. So I have a loss of $3,000, right? So I have a loss of $3,000, and the correct answer to multiple choice 17 is option B. Fairly easy question. Just need to remember the formulas and apply that formula. Application is equally important, and I hope this can demonstrate to you and help you understand these questions better. Multiple choice 18, BINA maintains a provision for doubtful debts of 3% of the trade receivables at the end of each financial year. So this is the provision rate. This is the provision rate on receivables, or the rate of estimated uncollectible receivables. Whatever you call it, it's just the provision rate, provision for doubtful debts rate. On 1st September 2019, the provision for doubtful debts was $900. So the beginning balance is $900 for the provision account, right? So that's the beginning balance. This is beginning balance. On 31st August 2020, the trade receivable amounted to 48,200. So this is the trade receivable amount. Which journal entry did BINA make on 31st August? And this would be the entry for provision for doubtful debts. So if you look at, if you run through the options here very fairly quickly, it's just talking about provision for doubtful debts, right? So it's an easy question. All you need to do is just follow some steps. The first thing that you need to do is calculate the provision for doubtful debts for year 2020. And how do you do that? That would be 48,800 times 0.03 or 3%. That will give you some number here, which I won't tell you. You need to calculate yourself because practice is important. And then you will take this number. So let's say this number is X dollars, and then you will take this number. You will subtract it from $900. So this X dollar minus $900 will give you that Y dollar amount, that dollar Y amount. And I'm going to tell you that dollar Y amount, is 384. That Y dollar amount is 384. Now, so you can actually eliminate option B and option D now, and then you only need to consider option A and option C. All you need to do is understand if the provision for doubtful debt has increased, right? So this, you will actually get a higher number than $900. The provision for doubtful debts in this case has actually increased in this case. So the correct answer to multiple choice 18 is option A, where you debit income statement, which is an expense account, and then credit provision for doubtful debts. So you will actually be crediting 384 here, and then you would have the total, here, which actually is 1284. But you should calculate this number here. I intentionally did not tell you the number. And you should, because practicing on calculator at the same time improves your speed, and you need to be faster and accurate when doing these problems, which are easy. All right, so hope this is helping you. Let's look at multiple choice 19 and multiple choice 20, and then we will pretty much end this video. And if you would like me to make part 2 of it, where I can solve from 21 to 35, the last 15 questions, I will be happy to do so. But you should try to do them on your own as well. So multiple choice 19, Nirmal sells 2 products, product G and product H. The following information is available about his inventory at the end of financial year. It was found that 100 units of product G were damaged and were unsellable. So basically, this should be 900 and not 1,000, right? So that's one part of the test. What is the total value of Nirmal's inventory? So all you need to calculate is the total value. So you have product G, 900 units. You have product H, 800 units. you need to remember the concept here, which was lower. You take lower of cost or NRV. Lower of cost or NRV. So in this case, you will compare for product G, the cost is lower, so you will take $2. For product H, net realizable value is lower, so you will take 1.20. When you sum up this here, when you sum, you will get a total dollar value. When you sum this number, you should actually get 2760. You should actually get 2760. So the answer to multiple choice 19 is option A. Multiple choice 20, what is not a service business? Hairdressing salon is a service business. Accountant's practice is a service business. Supermarket, this is not a service business. Because you purchase tangible goods. You purchase tangible goods from supermarket. For example, you purchase milk, or you purchase bread. So these are tangible goods, and therefore they are not the service business. And option D is again a service business. So what is not a service business? It's supermarket. So the answer to multiple choice 20 is option C. I hope you find this video helpful in your learning and preparing your O-levels exam. If you like this video, if this video was helpful, please give it a like and share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for more videos like these. You can also let me know if you want me to solve the remaining 15 multiple choice questions, and I will come up with the part 2 of this video. Thank you for your time, and thank you for watching this video till the end. Thank you very much.